Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of Loud and Clear. Before I get into everything real quick, I actually just wanted to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed and has messaged me in support of what I'm doing. Today, we're going to be talking about mental health obstacles and how to cope with them, especially during our current climate with COVID-19. So buckle up and get ready, because we're about to go on a wild ride. So this is something that I haven't shared on my channel yet, but I think is very important for me to share it with you all because I really value transparency and being honest. I also really value being able to know that someone you're talking to or even listening to, like me, can relate to you and isn't just spitting information that they read online. I actually wanted to briefly talk about a diagnosis that I have that affects my everyday life, known as borderline personality disorder. In my opinion, BPD is something that's widely misunderstood and has a very negative connotation, much like almost all, if not all, of the diagnoses that exist in the mental health community. So let's break down BPD real quick. A lot of people have personalities that are very similar, so what differentiates someone having BPD and someone that doesn't, even if they have the same personality? It depends on how much it affects that person's life in various domains. These domains can include things like your occupation, where you work, your family, interpersonal relationships, and even emotion regulation. There are 9 criterion that exist in the DSM-5 for meeting criteria for borderline personality disorder. The thing about it is that for someone to meet criteria for it, they have to meet 5 out of the 9 symptoms. This can be served as problematic with people who are trying to understand the disorder when, say, if they know 2 people that have borderline personality disorder and they're like, well, you know, person A looks different than person B, so how do they both have that diagnosis? To make things a little bit more clear, so I'm not speaking generally, I'll talk about myself for a little bit and how this affects me and how it may compare to someone else. So for example, I obviously meet diagnostic criteria for BPD. Someone else also does. Okay, we're gonna say person B, I'll be person A. Person B also meets criteria. However, they might not have the same symptoms that I have, yet they still meet criteria. So the thing about it is that there's a lot of flexibility with this diagnosis. I went through a really long history with mental health. Since I was about 12 years old, I've been diagnosed with depression, generalized anxiety, bipolar 1 disorder, and prescribed on so many medications in such little time for something that I didn't even have. It took a really long time and I gave up on therapy for a while, until around the beginning of 2019 where I just knew that the diagnosis for bipolar 1 did not feel right to me. I ended up researching online and finding a therapist. I met with her, we talked about things, and one thing led to another. It ended up that I did have a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. I remember sitting in my car right after thinking, okay, but now what? What does this mean? Having a diagnosis of any kind can go a few ways, and with borderline personality disorder, some people may really internalize what's going on with their diagnosis and really take those negative connotations that have to do with the disorder, they'll take those to heart. With me, however, I embraced my diagnosis and I wanted to learn more about it. And that's really why I'm here now making this video, is because I, one, want to educate people that don't know anything about BPD or they know some things about it, and let them know how it is with my experience. Also keeping in mind that how BPD looks in me may look completely different in someone else. I think I'm going a little bit on a tangent here, but I just think it's really important for people to understand the disorder. I want to be as transparent as possible with you all. My diagnosis does not mean that there is something wrong with me. If anything, I embrace it because it's kind of like a superpower, being so in tune with who I am. My main purpose in sharing this one, yes, is to educate, but it's also to let individuals know who may meet criteria for this disorder or even already do. It's to let you guys know that you're not alone and you're not the only one to be experiencing that. That's not to discourage you. Yes, your feelings are absolutely valid, but there are other people there who understand what it's like, and maybe it'll help you get through it more if you can listen to them and relate and reiterate that you are not alone. Things have gotten so much better with me since I sought treatment, and I really hope that things can get better for you all too if you're struggling. So like I said in the intro, the focus of this episode is navigating dealing with mental health obstacles that get thrown at you. For me, someone who has borderline personality disorder and also just thrives with structure and routine, this was hard for me at first not being in school. A lot of my focus consciously and subconsciously are my connections with my friends and my relationships. I quickly realized while planning out my entire online semester that there are little things that can help coping with COVID-19. And one of those things is coffee. I hope this doesn't catch me on fire, but I also have a candle lit right now. It is so good. It smells like Christmas. Christmas makes me happy, but beyond that, it just smells really good. So I always keep this on my desk. Little things like that. I try to structure my day so from 9 to 5, I'm sitting at my desk and I'm doing things that I know I need to get done. I structure everything. I even have a notebook where I write things down. So anything that really helps you, try to look at, okay, for students, for example, what did you do in school that made you successful? Or were there things in school you did that didn't make you successful? Take the information that you get from that after you reevaluate it and try and think, well, how can I still implement this in a way? Just because we are socially distant doesn't mean that we can't be connected. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling cooped up and you have cabin fever, go out and do something that will challenge you. Not going out into public per se. If you are, obviously wear a mask and gloves, stay 6 feet apart, all of that. But beyond everything else, challenge yourself. See the things that you value, and even allow yourself to relax, sit on the couch. It's not a bad thing to take a break from life. The fact of the matter is that we all need to take breaks from time to time. Just don't let it consume everything that you do. Allow time to work, and then allow time to rest. It's having that balance that ultimately is going to help you. And beyond that, I think COVID-19 and having to stay in our houses is actually going to be a blessing in disguise for so many individuals. There are people who have been unaware of their mental health prior to COVID-19 and now are experiencing symptoms of various disorders or just uncomfortable symptoms in general. Now, hopefully these people, having all the time in the world it seems, can tap into those emotions and figure out what's going on. It's mainly just about getting to know yourself during this time. You're forced to be in a house, so why not take advantage of having all that time by yourself and really put in the work? I'm not saying that it's gonna be easy because it's not, believe me, every single day I am doing something to improve myself. I often think, is what I'm doing now going to help me in the future? And trying to reflect that way too. There are so many things that can help you. You just have to be able to allow yourself to do it and believe that it will get better. Because with time, it will. So that's really my main rant for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you for being supportive. Stay tuned for our next episode. It's going to be airing next week, and I cannot wait.